Is the Batman 2 and Matt Reeves' Batman universe in trouble? With David Zaslav continuously sharpening his axe and cutting down all these future DC projects, one has to wonder, even though it has been successful, if the Batman universe with Robert Pattinson and Matt Reeves is in serious trouble. There have been many different sources and rumors I've come across talking about this particular issue, and I'm going to read some for you because whether or not I believe them, I still think they're kind of interesting. For the record, I don't really believe them. With that being said, whenever I do read this type of stuff to everyone on my channel, always take them with a grain of salt. Unless I specifically tell you that a rumor has come to me or a source that is super reliable, that's different. But especially for this one, I'm talking like take a pinch of salt, sprinkle it on your palm and look at it that way, because that is how very small and minuscule and possibly false these claims might be. So I'm only gonna read a couple of them, and then when we're done, we can discuss it. And I do want to talk about what this potentially could mean for the Batman, even if these rumors do end up being just that, rumors. So one of the first claims here is the Reevesverse is in serious danger and Reeves wants to recast Joker. Batgirl is only the beginning. From a reliable friend, all that is safe right now is Shazam 2, Aquaman 2, Peacekeeper, and Black Adam. The Reevesverse is in serious danger due to creative differences that I really hope can be worked out. No Penguin show, no Arkham. They've been deemed too expensive for streaming. So obviously you start to question how true this is when it always says from a friend or from what I have heard, especially if they are not the source that has been hearing these specific things. I'm choosing to go through these just because, yes, DC and Warner Brothers has been going through some massive tidal wave changes within the past couple of weeks. So at this point, anything could be possible. They're about to basically blow it all up and start over. Creative differences between Matt Reeves and who do you think? Of course, David Zaslav. There's that, and there's also the fact both parties agree a certain character needs recasting. Zaslav wants an A-lister, Reeves doesn't. It's not hard to figure out. Yes, it's the Joker. Reeves wants a recast, no chemistry with Pattinson, also noticeably shorter in screen tests. That's really interesting. You get Barry Keoghan to come in to play the Joker. You already put him in a scene in the literal movie, and then you actually made a 5-minute scene of him with Robert Pattinson that was deleted from the film. And it's not like they just kind of skimmed on this deleted scene and were like, yeah, if it looks good on camera, we'll keep it. They put a lot of work into that deleted scene. At any moment, someone could edit the Batman movie and find a way to put that scene in the film. Now, it's really easy to sit here and say that, well, you know, Barry Keoghan's Joker is not necessarily integral to the world that Matt Reeves is creating. There is a chance they could recast his Joker if they really wanted to. Most of what you've seen from his Joker have been very mysterious, blurry shots or profile shots, but only of like corners of his face. Even though I don't necessarily want to rule it out because it's not never heard of, like stuff like that does happen, I'm just gonna say I don't believe it. I do think they're good with Barry Keoghan as the Joker. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe something will come out where the Joker is actually gonna get recast for that universe. But as of right now, I don't believe that one. Nonetheless, still interesting. I can tell you with certainty, the Penguin HBO Max show is dead, and above they also said something about the Arkham show being dead as well. And then Pattinson in the DCEU, that's what Zaslav wants. So it's really interesting that this leaked document is talking about how Penguin and Arkham are dead shows, but I'm pretty sure Deadline just a couple of hours ago came out with an article talking about how the Penguin show is still moving forward. Then again, we've been getting tons of reports about shows and movies that are still moving forward, which at any moment David Zaslav could probably just cut down, and what those articles are being used for is to gauge the reactions of people who do watch these projects to see, what's the reaction going to become if I do end up axing this in the future, or maybe we should keep these projects alive because that is what's going to make the fans happy. As for Robert Pattinson being in the DCEU, I recall saying this months ago when the Batman movie was coming out, and even after the movie came out, that if there was a possibility to merge Robert Pattinson's Batman in a connected DC universe, I thought they were going to take it, or I at least thought they were going to find a way to merge both of the worlds. If there is trouble in the Reevesverse, and maybe Zaslav has this 10-year plan and it does not conform or fit with the Matt Reeves creativity side of things, and that is because Matt Reeves wants to keep this a signified world only to Batman and not connect it to an overall DC universe. But with David Zaslav being in charge and being able to control things, he might find a way to essentially say, all right, Matt Reeves, you had your one Batman film, but moving forward, things are going to look a little bit different. The only thing that is massively going to stay the same is Robert Pattinson is the new connected universe Batman, which I'm okay with because I do believe there's a great future for him as Batman ahead. But there might be a lot of complications there, and who knows if it'll actually pan out. Jumping ahead all the way to Claim 4, Joker 2 has taken the Batman 2's release date. Todd Phillips' Joker 2 got a release date of October 4th, 2024, which is when the second Batman film was supposed to be released. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have been seeing posts everywhere about how the Batman is not greenlit yet for the sequel film, and you've also seen a lot of things that it is apparently years away, which we are in 2022, we're merging into 2023. I would assume that means the sequel to Batman would drop near the end of 2024, which is apparently the new release date of the second Joker film. Penguin was to release in the late fall of 2023, and Arkham would have led right into the Batman 2, which I have a little bit of a feeling that the Arkham show would have probably ended in a breakout situation. Maybe some inmates of Arkham end up escaping, which maybe opens the door to Barry Keoghan's Joker escaping, or somehow another Joker that they choose to recast and involve. Now, that's about it when it comes to the news of the Batman with Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson. There were a ton of other rumors that I'm just not going to get into, and a lot of them I just don't believe. There are certain things here that were saying Ben Affleck is coming back to shoot more scenes for the Flash film, which I do think is happening. There were other things here saying that Henry Cavill is going to appear at the end of Black Adam, which I really do hope so. But then there was another one that was saying that Superman was going to show up at the end of Black Adam and that it was going to be a new actor from the WWE because The Rock and his team casted someone in the wrestling world. Just really outlandish stuff. Makes you really question if any of this stuff is real. Now, what is important is the Batman. That is what we are talking about within this video. What does it mean if they cancel the Batman? How will the DC universe be looked at now moving forward? I'm sure there's going to be a lot of angry fans if Matt Reeves' Batman world is officially put to a close, and Zaslav also cuts that one down. I can tell you right now, someone like me would be very, very upset. But at the same time, I look at things here and I think Zaslav really wants to make changes. He really wants to shake things up, and he really wants to get things in order. And when you have all of these projects that are confusing people, you know, this Batman has this world, but he's not connected to the overall universe. And then there's a Superman over here that everybody loves, but he's not connected to this world over here, and blah, blah, blah. It's not just confusing anymore. It's annoying and it's frustrating. Now, we do need to look at the success of the Batman as well. How did this movie do in the box office? The film made $770 million worldwide, and at first glance, you probably think to yourself, That's okay. There are definitely a couple of factors that we need to take in when looking at that number and looking at it as if it was a success or if it was a flop. I'll just begin with telling you right now, no, this was not a flop. This was actually really, really good, and I think they have to feel good with the money they made for the movie. First of all, let's take into consideration that this is during a time where DC has never been more confusing than it has been before. You're getting a brand new actor in the role of Bruce Wayne Batman, and you're completely starting a brand new universe. I thought Ben Affleck was Batman. Weren't you guys getting Michael Keaton back? What's going on with the DCEU? You see what I mean? There's a lot of confusion there, and that already would make a lot of people be like, all right, screw this, I'm out, I want no part of it. And they still made a decent amount of income from the film. The second thing, and probably the biggest thing to take into consideration, is the fact that probably half the world was still locked down due to COVID when this movie dropped. This was around March when everything was open and closing. No one knew what was going on. So considering a lot of countries were still closed, and big countries at that, and it still made 770 million worldwide, I'd still say that's a pretty good amount. Let's also take into consideration number 3, that when this movie was coming out, they did also announce that 45 days after the movie's release in the theaters, it was going to be released on HBO Max and streaming services like Crave TV for me in Canada, that if you didn't go see it in the theaters, you can watch it at home. 45 days is a really big chunk of time to wait, which means if you don't want to wait, you can just go see it in the movie theater. But I will say, especially for people who didn't want to go to movie theaters at the time and just wanted to wait, they now knew they could wait for its release on streaming services. Warner Brothers gave them that opportunity, and I'm not saying it was a bad thing, but what I'm saying is they should have never told people that it was going to hit streaming services after or directly after it left movie theaters, because then what you do is when you don't tell people that, you then give people this feeling that, you know what, if I don't see it in theaters now, who knows how long I'm gonna have to wait till it comes out on Blu-ray and 4K and whatever else. I might as well go see it now. So if they left out that 45-day release window, I could guarantee you would see maybe not 770 million worldwide, maybe about 815 million worldwide. And I know that doesn't sound like a huge bump up, but I mean, when you take all of these things into consideration, it does help quite a lot. And then number 4, you also have to think that because of COVID-19, a lot of movies were coming directly to streaming services. Netflix, Disney, Hulu, Crave, HBO Max, Paramount Plus. So now, when the theaters were finally opening and movies were finally making a big return to the theaters, to the silver screen, one had to wonder, are movie theaters dying? Is this it? Do people really want to go to the movie theaters? So now this movie gets released to the big screen, and you now have to think to yourself, is it going to do well? Because a lot of people are used to just staying at home and watching movies that way. Do people want to go in anymore? And I would say the fact that this movie nearly made 800 million worldwide shows that people were still interested in getting that big screen effect. I know I am. The way I like to watch my movies is IMAX form, and that's the only way I can do it. So I guess we could call that the more technical side of the Batman. Whether or not it was a success, I would say it is a success. I think a lot of people would say it's a success. And if they were to cancel this universe because of that, I don't necessarily think that would be a good look, especially to Batman being one of your biggest properties, if not the biggest property. You can't just keep canceling Batman stuff, and we gotta finally find some stable ground with the Batman character and DC in general. Even if that means you can find a way to create the DC EU over here And then Robert Pattinson's Batman over here, something needs to be done about that. And then when you look at the movie itself, it does a lot of things that leaves us desiring more. It does a lot of things that leaves us happy with the way the film ended up being in general. Robert Pattinson did not disappoint on his first time playing the Caped Crusader, and for the first time in a long time, he actually played a Batman who was intellectual. And I'm not saying other Batman haven't been in live action form, but his was much more mentally powered, especially because he had to face off against a guy like the Riddler. He did feel like a great detective in this movie. He was brutal, he was efficient. Everything Matt Reeves did with this Batman worked, and it was loved by all of us. The Batmobile was cool, the Batcave was interesting, Andy Serkis's Alfred, Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman. The list could go on, but most importantly, I think for a lot of people, it made people feel like, a Batman that we can get on board with. A Batman that truly feels like Batman. He is the world's greatest detective. He is a Caped Crusader. He is a Dark Knight. I feel like a lot of people can get on board with the picture of Batman that Matt Reeves created for this world, and that is another big reason why I think canceling the Batman wouldn't be the prettiest move, and I don't think would leave a lot of people happy. There needs to be a long discussion between Zaslav and Matt Reeves about what do we do with this ever-growing Batman world? You want to make a Penguin show, you want to make an Arkham show, you want to then make a Batman 2, you are clearly creating your own standalone Batman franchise the way Christopher Nolan did it. I can see it from a perspective of, look, we already have a standalone Batman franchise. It's called the Dark Knight Trilogy from Christopher Nolan. We don't need another one. I can then also see, of course, we don't have stability. Everything in DC right now is confusing, it's hard to follow, and we simply don't know what in the world is going on. Why do we need 5 Batmans all played by different people, all in separate universes? We need to find control. We need to find one person to play the role, and having your own standout universe is not going to help with the lack of confusion. Also, I could see it being the situation of if DC was stable, if we were in a position where we didn't have to worry about that, sure, have your own universe. Have your own Batman franchise that does not coincide with the DC connected universe. But unfortunately, DC does not have that right now because they've been scrambling for years, and now they're scrambling, but in a much different way. They're scrambling to figure out which projects get canned. So I think the best course of action is to have a long discussion between the two and look at this Batman universe and see how viable it actually is. I would say they need to find or reach an agreement where Matt Reeves' Batman could potentially be used within the connected DC universe. That is if some of this stuff is true. That is if Ben Affleck is not coming back as Batman. That is if David Zaslav does not have someone else in mind, which I really hope he doesn't. There is a lot of moving pieces here, and to find out what is going to happen is going to be exciting. Also a little nerve-wracking because, like I said, a lot of us don't want this project or this universe canceled, but it would be fantastic if they could come to an agreement. Matt Reeves can do his movies and utilize his creativity while simultaneously finding a way to make Robert Pattinson the main Batman of the DCEU. But at this point, who knows? Because Zaslav, like it or not, for better or worse, he's not messing around. Things could look much different with this Batman universe moving forward, if they will even move forward. Anyways, everyone, that's all I got for you on this video. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this situation, and not even if you believe these rumors or not, just more so if you do believe the Batman will move forward and what you would want to see with the Batman moving forward in general. If you do want to see Robert Pattinson take a bigger role in the DCEU, or if you just want to see him solidified to the Matt Reevesverse. And of course, if we do get more information on this situation, I will keep everyone updated. But until next time, I will talk to you all very soon.